Unrivaled is about to unravel. I would be very surprised that numbers for year 2 are comparable to numbers from year 1. They have less star power. WNBA fatigue is at an all-time high. There's no Caitlin Clark. There was pretty much no Caitlin Clark sophomore year in the WNBA.
All right. So did you understand what just transpired? Because this is completely crazy. Nobody is discussing the implications of Unrivaled's recent loss of their most potent weapon for the WNBA's future. This is the problem. It's more than just a scheduling conflict when the 5 biggest stars in women's basketball decline to participate in your league. That message is well coordinated. By the time this video ends, you will have a clear understanding of why this might be the best power move these players have ever made, or the largest error that simply returned all the advantage to the owners. I'll explain what's actually going on behind closed doors, because there is much more to this than a few players missing a season.
Person that casuals might know from 2019, 2020 in Sabrina Ionescu from last year isn't there this year. You have WNBA champion A'ja Wilson, she's not there. You have Sophie Cunningham, who has made a mark in the minds of fans across the country. She won't be participating in this.
Look at what he has out there. 5 huge names have vanished. However, this is what the majority of people are lacking. This has nothing to do with relaxation. This has nothing to do with preventing injuries. Consider the timing. CBA talks are currently taking place. Leverage is required by the Players Association. They must demonstrate to the WNBA owners that they have alternatives, are independent of the league, and pose the greatest threat. A competing league that genuinely functions, one that can thrive without the WNBA's infrastructure, pays better, and treats players better. The nuclear option is that. When you want owners to take you seriously at the negotiating table, you use that card. However, there is a huge issue with that approach.
A lot of leverage out of Unrivaled's hand when it comes to negotiating for the new CBA. By Unrivaled's hand, I mean out of the Players Association's hand. If Unrivaled actually was able to draw top players, draw the top billers, bring a decent rating night in and night out to their games, have good engagement, sell merch, so on and so forth, money talks bullshit.
And there you have it, the breaking point. Pay attention to what he just said. BS walks, money talks. What real power does the Players Association have if Unrivaled is unable to attract stars, ratings, or the top players that people genuinely care about? Take a moment to consider this from the owner's point of view. The president of the Players Association is seated across from you. They want better pay, better working conditions, charter flights, and more. In essence, they are saying, give us what we want or we'll just go play in Unrivaled instead. Here's the worst part, though. Caitlin Clark isn't playing there, as you are aware. Angel Reese was absent, as you are aware. A'ja Wilson wants nothing to do with it, as you are aware. So, why would that make you feel threatened as an owner? You wouldn't. You'd actually laugh and call their bluff.
If they're not playing in Unrivaled, then the owners still have no reason to fear Unrivaled. I'd argue that players sitting out from Unrivaled helps out the WNBA far more than it helps out Unrivaled. Imagine being Unrivaled, Nafisa Collier, Breanna Stewart. Imagine being part of the Players Association, the president, Nneka Ogwumike, and going to negotiations, going to the table saying, look, we have all the top superstars in our league still.
Did you catch the names he just listed? Dana Evans, Cameron Brink, Derek Homme. These are solid players, don't get me wrong, but they're not needle movers. They're not the players that casual fans tune in to watch. And that's the brutal truth that's about to sink Unrivaled negotiating power. Because here's what's really happening. There's a massive divide in the Players Association that nobody wants to talk about publicly. You've got one group, the Nafisa Collars, the Breanna Stewarts, who are literally invested and Unrivaled, like financially invested. They own pieces of this league. They needed to succeed because their money's on the line. Then you've got another group, the Caitlin Clarks. The Divided Players Association explain the A'ja Wilsons, who are thinking, wait, why am I helping you build your business empire while potentially destroying the league? I actually dreamed of playing it.
Which goes with the theme, no handouts. We're not giving you our name, image, and likeness, for lack of a better term, so you can use our handouts to bargain, to go against the league that we've dreamed to play for. We're not giving you the ammo that you need to go potentially shut down the WNBA, to potentially go and argue and use Unrivaled as your own bargaining chip in a selfish manner, because that's what they're doing, hence conflict of interest.
Okay, pause. Because what he just explained is the psychology behind this entire situation. No handouts. Think about what that really means. Caitlin Clark has spent the last year watching everyone use her name to build their brands, their leagues, their platforms. Angel Reese became the face of Unrivaled's first season largely because of the Caitlin Clark rivalry narrative. The entire league got boosted by association with the Clark effect. And now they want to use that same star power as a bargaining chip against the WNBA, against the league these players actually want to play in long term. That's where the conflict of interest becomes crystal clear. Nfisa Keir and Brianna Stewart aren't just Players Association members. They're business owners trying to compete with the WNBA while simultaneously negotiating on behalf of WNBA players. You can't serve two masters, and the top stars just figured that out.
Clear conflict of interest. A'ja Wilson, she's not letting that happen. Both years, she's not letting that happen. Caitlin Clark, not letting that happen. They've had enough time using Caitlin Clark's juice, using Caitlin Clark's clout to demand and ask. Angel Reese, it's not happening this year. Sophie Cut, no. Sabrina, no, not happening this year.
Both years. Did you hear that? A'ja Wilson sat out both years. This isn't a one-time thing. This is a pattern. This is a statement. And here's what makes this even more fascinating. These why Caitlin Clark said no handouts, players aren't stupid. They understand leverage. They understand the negotiating tactics. So why would they voluntarily give up the one card that could actually force the WNBA to pay them more unless they don't see it as leverage at all? Unless they see Unrivaled as a trap. Think about it from their perspective. If Unrivaled actually succeeds, if it becomes a legitimate competitor to the WNBA, what happens? Best case scenario, the WNBA has to compete for players and raises salaries. Worst case scenario, the WNBA says, fine, you want to play hardball, we'll lock you out. Go play in your little startup league and see how that works out. And suddenly you've got two struggling leagues instead of one growing one.
Well, with all of the shady business that's now coming out around the NBA, who's to say that Adam Silver didn't talk to some of these players behind the closed doors and say, here's a few $100,000, don't play in this shit. We don't need to give them any more leverage. Here's a few $100,000, we'll take care of it, don't worry about it, you don't need this. We can't have your stardom being lent out to all these different places, Unrivaled being one of them, Athletes Unlimited being one of them. We can't have that. You'll play in the WNBA, you'll do the USA basketball stuff.
Now, this is where it gets absolutely wild. So, check this out. There's a theory floating around that Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, might have quietly paid some of these players to sit out Unrivaled. Just straight up cut him checks behind closed doors and said, here's a few hundred. The Adam Silver theory grand. Don't give them any ammunition to use against us in discussions. And before you think that sounds too conspiracy theory, listen to what else has been happening in the NBA lately. The Luka Doncic situation, the Terry Rozier gambling investigation that the NBA somehow missed, but the FBI caught. The Kawhi Leonard payment scheme allegations. The NBA has been caught with their hand in the cookie jar multiple times recently. So, is it really that far-fetched to think Adam Silver would make a few strategic payments to protect the WNBA's negotiating position? Because here's the thing, the NBA is invested in the WNBA. They subsidize it. They support it. They need it to succeed on their terms, not on terms dictated by a startup league run by players. The shady business angle is actually crucial to understanding this whole situation, because what we're really talking about here is control. Who controls women's basketball? Is it the league? Is it the players? Is it the Players Association? Or is it a small group? Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you have watched this.